Hi, today is December 8th, 2025, and here are my poems for the day. The first one is poem number 1902 for the year, Stopcock. In 1917, Marcel Duchamp signed a porcelain urinal with the name R. Mutt, altered its orientation, and entitled it Fountain. He called it a ready-made sculpture, which he defined as everyday objects raised to the dignity of a work of art by the artist's act of choice. In that spirit, I have photographed my bathtub faucet and rotated the image 90 degrees. As I cast about for a title for my new work, I was delighted to discover the word stopcock, which is a type of valve used to control the flow of a liquid or gas. Just as a urinal isn't a fountain, a faucet isn't a stopcock. So I thought it was an excellent name for my newest creation. Poem number 1903, H. Jatt. My new work, which is a photograph of a faucet called Stopcock, is not technically a ready-made. I would have to tear the faucet out of the wall and sign it something like H. Jatt. That name is related to my actual name in much the same way that R. Mutt is related to Duchamp's. It might be a bit geeky to explain, but R is the third letter of Duchamp's first name, and I followed a similar cryptographic system until I got to the end where I used the same two final letters as Duchamp did. I could say that if doing all that won't make me an artist, nothing will, except that I already know that doing all that won't make me an artist. Poem number 1904, Prophecy Fulfilled. Back when I wrote Sensitive Artist, I was kind of talking about me, but at that time in my work, I wasn't making allusions to books no one had read and music nobody else has heard or art no one had seen, but in the ensuing years, I have certainly done that many times. I've written about how Poussette Darts works repeatedly. He is my favorite painter, and I rarely meet anyone who's ever heard of him. Perhaps I travel in the wrong circles. I've written about obscure works that I have heard at Kronos Quartet and American Symphony Orchestra concerts, and I have written about Cicero's book, The Trouble with Being Born, which is a much better book than my Daily Negations, but similarly themed. I will note that I had heard of The Trouble with Being Born before I wrote Daily Negations, but I didn't read it until later. I will also note that I am not certain that I have mentioned that book or another Ciceron book that I like called The Temptation to Exist. That is to say, it is possible that in my work I have never mentioned those books or any other books that no one else has read, but I have now. And the last poem of the day, poem number 1905. Oh, it's not the last poem of the day. Goodness gracious. We go on and on, don't we? Poem number 1905. I am reminded, I don't know the title yet, I am reminded that for the cover of our Atlantic Records release, Happy Hour, so named because the running time was exactly 60 minutes, we thought it would make sense to have some kind of sad barroom scene on the cover. But the art director at the label showed us a photograph of a sculpture of a cock and asked us, isn't this great because of detachable penis? We were stupidly polite and didn't voice our objections strongly, but we thought that we had made it clear that we thought it was a shitty idea. This was not enough to stop cock. A month later, we learned that the label had purchased the photograph for our record cover. The artist was a friend of the art director, and this artist doesn't show the sculptures, she only shows the photographs. It would be like if I were to just show a photograph of my bathroom faucet instead of ripping it out of the wall and signing it. Hypocrisy, nepotism, and laziness run rampant in the art world. And the last poem of the day, poem number 1906, More Delights. In the Wikipedia entry for the word stopcock, it says, see also petcock. A petcock, like a stopcock, is a shut-off valve used to control the flow of liquid or gas. It is smaller than a stopcock, but confident about its ability. Wikipedia notes that modern petcocks are typically ball valves. Even more delightfully, in the entry for a petcock, it says not to be confused with petcock, 2 words. And in the entry for stopcock, it says not to be confused with cockblock. I would say you can't make this stuff up, but you probably could, and I certainly could, but I didn't. All right, that's it. Thank you. I appreciate you.